Welcome to the Auto Authorities podcast. My name is Jay, coming to you live. And guess what? I am so excited, more excited than I normally am, because we have a new co-host for the Auto Authorities podcast. And the reason why I'm so excited is this is the one guy out of everybody that I've met in 26 plus years doing the automotive industry, knows more about anybody that I've ever met in the automotive industry. And his name is Gerald Bentley. And you have probably seen him if you've been watching the podcast, because he is an expert. And it's very, very hard to find people that really know their stuff. This guy does. And Gerald is standing by, and we are going to meet him when we come back. And we are going to be talking about all kinds of shocking headlines today. Shocking headlines that will really, really surprise you.
Have you ever felt like you were taken for a ride while buying, selling, or repairing your car? Well, not anymore. I'm Jay, and this is the podcast to tell you what to watch out for, whether you are buying, selling, or repairing your car. With over 26 years of automotive experience, we are the Auto Authorities. This podcast is sponsored by iAutoAgent.com. We're real estate agents for cars.
There we go.
All right, we are back. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Gerald Bentley with Dealership Rescue. Gerald, welcome, 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 not just to the show, but as a co-host.
Yeah, thanks. And, you know, I think you've covered some great topics over the last couple of years, because something that I've noticed looking at all the different automotive podcasts, I host a sales podcast as well, Wrestling with Sales, just geared directly towards dealerships and, you know, dealership owners and vendors. But this is something that's going to be more all-encompassing, and we can talk about car repairs, buying a car, getting your car sold. You know, how can auto agent help? How can you sell your own car? There's so many different topics, and it touches so many areas. And really, most of what's out there online are podcasts talking about buying a car secrets, car dealership secrets, which mostly aren't true. They mostly actually put people in a bad position. So I think it's good to actually be able to talk to people and give them a good look at, you know, what's really going on in the car market, especially considering how crazy it's been the last few years. I mean, I remember you and I met when we were consulting with some guys who were trying to buy a dealership back in, I believe it was in 2019, and they were trying to buy a dealership for about $8 million. And because of the effect of COVID and how it drove auto prices up, $8 million gets you a used car lot on the side of 40 Highway here in Kansas City. A Toyota dealership, an average size Toyota dealership, just sold for $250 million in suburban Austin. So these guys had money, but they didn't have the money to buy a car dealership now. That's something that you better have inherited. Otherwise, you need a lot of money to get into it. But, you know, the good thing is, found out about iAutoAgent, how you've been working at, you know, helping people sell their cars, helping people find cars. And I think there's a huge need for people to get information about automotives right now, because there really just isn't a lot of it. And most of the information that's out there is bad.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's what I like about Gerald is when we were asked to be on the board of this new dealership project, we really got to know each other really well, and we had a lot of the same views. And that's really what was really great. And he really knows, like, when he says that a lot of the information that you see is misinformation, he's spot on. And that's truly why I started the Auto Authorities over 2.5 years ago now. And that's why we come like live once a week, is because it allows us to get on our platform. It's really, really crazy. You know, Gerald, tell everybody a little bit about just a quick about your background, and we'll talk about our quick sponsors with iAuto Agent and Dealership Rescue?
Sure. Well, I went to college and actually did morning drive radio in Cleveland, Ohio, major market, did radio, did TV, and with all the consolidation of ownership of the channels, a lot harder to keep jobs than that. And I ended up falling into sales and was a sales manager going all the way up to being a GM of a small Honda dealership over the last 20 some years, and started up a consulting business, Dealership Rescue, actually right during COVID. Kind of coincided with starting wrestling with sales. You can find that on YouTube. And it's just really an interesting industry because it's one of the few industries out there that the person that you're talking to, the sales manager, the salesperson, the dealership, they actually still really can make a difference. So much of everything now is corporately owned. And if you go to a Target in St. Louis, in Kansas City, in New York, in Las Vegas, you're getting the Target experience. If you go to a Honda dealership on the Illinois side of St. Louis or the Missouri side of St. Louis, your experience could be totally different. If you go to a Chevy dealership in Chicago, in the Chicagoland suburbs, maybe in the Northwest side, you go to one in Schaumburg, or you go to one in Joliet, there's no telling what your experience is from dealership to dealership. That's why I think it's important to give a voice to what's going on, both to the customers and also to the dealerships themselves. That was the idea with Dealership Rescue, because little things can make a huge difference, and you see it all the time, going dealership to dealership and talking to different dealers. And then from the customer's perspective, they don't know what's right, and they may be setting themselves up to fail.
Yeah, definitely. And when it comes to the different companies that we have, iAutoAgent.com, if you're looking to sell your car and you don't want to do it yourself, you don't want to take it to the dealer, we'll market, list, show the car at no cost to you. We help individuals and businesses with fleets of vehicles, really helping business owners stay focused on their business, as well as doing our vehicle finder program at iAuto Agent. Will help you find that perfect car, literally nationwide. We will literally find it, ensure the reliability, and literally tee it up where you're just going to the dealer and picking up your car, and people love it. And just like you said, Gerald, it's very different for us too when we are doing our vehicle finder program to actually find dealerships that like actually are doing things the right way. And the ones we find, we keep very close to us, because some are wonderful to work with and some are absolutely horrendous to work with.
Sure.
Tell us about Dealership Rescue and a little bit more about that.
Yeah, really just a all-around analytics-based consulting company for reaching out to dealerships to help out and let them know what's going on with their customers, so they have the access to the big data, and then they can figure it out from there, because it's really not quite as easy as you would think, because you're sitting there, you get real myopic, and you don't see that you're making the same mistakes over and over and over again. So a lot of times, coming from the outside, you can make a big impact by making one or two small changes. So that's the idea.
Which ultimately is going to make a much better experience for you, the listener, or watching this podcast right now, because when he works with those dealers to treat customers much better than they have been treating people, it really is a big positive. Let's get into some headlines, man. Like, there's some crazy, shocking stuff.
Yeah. Hey, let's go with this one, because this one did amaze me, and I think this is something that you're finding a lot with iAuto Agent. Shares of used cars sold that were under $20,000. This goes back to 2018. In 2018, it was over 50% of the used cars sold in the country went for over $20,000. As of now, as of the beginning of this year, it was under 30%. So what that means the customers that are coming in saying, hey, I want a $350, $400 payment, which people think, hey, that's great. That's where it's been for years. I should be able to get a nice car for $350 to $400. Well, the reality is no, you can't find the cars. They're not there. The average used car price last month was over $30,000. The average used car payment was $777. So that's nuts. And people are coming into the market after not buying a car for the longest time in the country's history. The average car in America now is 12 and a half years old. So well, let's do a little math, right? We'll dive into the analytics a little bit. 2-car household, normal, actually probably a little low in the country on average. Let's say you buy a new car halfway through each one. That's 6.5 years. That means that the average American hasn't even tried to buy a car since the prices have spiked. So you wonder why customers are walking into dealerships feeling like they got ripped off, and why dealerships are thinking like, oh man, we can't help these people. They're crazy. It's because neither side has met each other during this time since the prices have skyrocketed post-COVID. I mean, it's a huge problem. I'm sure you've seen it a lot with iAuto agent customers.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Gerald, I've been preaching this for a while, and now the analytics actually do come out to support what I've been saying is, and especially to my team, I'm like, listen, guys, no matter what people say, there's a few people that pay cash still, but very, very rarely they want to buy on a payment. And I said, if it's a sedan, so like we're looking for sedans right now, and we want them under 15 grand, and we want SUVs 20 grand and under, and they are few and far between, because as soon as it's like when people are doing that search online, they're going 20,000 and under. They're not doing 20,200 and under. So if you're trying to sell a car and you're asking $20,200, you're going to miss what? How many percentage of people would you say?
I bet 60% of the shoppers aren't going to see it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's absolutely insane. And I don't see it getting better for a long time. There's a lot of things that need to happen before we start seeing any types of drops, and I'm not seeing it. Unless you want a pickup truck or a huge SUV, usually a Chrysler of some sort, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, no, that's very true, because here, let's get into a couple more numbers. And as we move forward, we're going to have on some guests to give some insights and kind of break down the market, give you a one-stop shop to really get an idea of actually what's going on out there in automotives and both repairs and sales. But this week, we're kicking off. We kind of wanted to go over some of the headlines, break down some of the news, because there's a ton out there. How about this? The average new car last month sold for $584 over sticker. Not over invoice, over sticker. So you got the average car selling for $584 over sticker. Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, on the other hand, they're the difference. They're the best of both worlds, the worst of both worlds. They're having a horrible time. The average Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram dealer has a 130-day supply of cars. Now, keep that in mind if you're not really into the weeds and cars. Anything over 90 days on the lot is bad. That's because the dealer has to start paying interest on it. If you hear the term floor plan, that's what it is. That's interest on the cars they carry. After 90, the dealer starts losing money every day they have the car. The average Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram dealer has a 130-day supply of cars. They're already losing. And their average car, like you said, Jay, is crazily expensive. That's why you're starting to see the incentives come back in on Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Rams. $13,000 off a Laramie Limited Ram, and you don't even have to ask for it. It's there. It's on the website of multiple dealerships across the country. Now, the downside to get that $13,000 off, you're buying a $90,000 truck. So it's still going to be expensive, but they're slashing them. And what I thought was really weird, Jay, the commercials that are running right now for Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Rams, it's for a neat car, the Hornet. They're bringing back an old name, bringing back a name from the past, from the AMCs. The Hornet is coming out, and it is a neat-looking car. The only problem is they're running the ads, but there's no Hornets out there. They're saying it's a swarm taking over the country. You can't even buy one. They haven't been made yet. There's none out there. And that's going to be their affordable car. Relatively, it's going to be like $35,000 to $42,000. But you can't even buy one.
It's like the modern day bait and switch, in my opinion. And I'm going to tell you, one of the commercials I just saw was a local Toyota dealership here in St. Louis. And we all know Toyotas you cannot get. And they put on literally the commercial said 2020 and up Toyotas for $6,500 off MSRP.
Okay.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? Am I really, truly seeing this? This is, and then like, for those of you that are listening, like take your DVR and pause it and read that small print. 2020 and up Toyotas. So when people hear $6,500 off, they're like, oh my gosh, not only can I get a brand new Toyota, I could get $6,500 off. And then you show up and it's like, okay, well, where's the car that was $6,500 off? Well, that's a Toyota Land Cruiser, and that's an 80-something thousand dollar car, but you can get it $6,500 off that it was when it was brand new.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what I want. Well, do you want to order one? Well, when am I going to get it? I don't know.
Well, or what they're doing probably is a 2020 SE Camry with 90,000 miles, and we're selling that thing for $6,000 off a new sticker. So, yeah, they're right there. So, hey, one other headline, and then we'll wind it down. How about this? Are you excited about BYD EVs? They're talking about trying to come into America. It's a Chinese company that's competing against Tesla in China. They're releasing EVs that can cost as low as $12,000, including a little pickup truck like a Subaru Baja, if you remember those, or a Suzuki Brat, a little compact pickup truck. That guy's $14,000. What do you think? Do you want to see BYD trucks in America?
I vote yes, because then it gets everybody else really, really honest. But my question is this gonna be like the old Yugo back in the day, or I mean, is this gonna be something that lasts? I think those are some of the things that people really wonder, and I don't know if I believe that, but I guess time will tell.
Well, or will somebody buy them? Because you know what other car you can get a huge discount off of right now? The last little car that was supposed to take over America and revitalize the compact car market, the Fiat 500. They had the Abbas edition. They had the Gucci edition. Jennifer Lopez was doing the commercials. You can get those bad boys now if you can find a Fiat dealership still, because most Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram dealers gave their Fiat dealerships back. If you're in a city that still has a Fiat dealership standalone, they got those things for $6,000 off a new sticker. They're new cars, and they're 2022s mostly. So wow. The question is, if they bring an EV in for $14,000, will an American buy it? Because they're going to have like 150 miles of range. Top speed's going to be like 60. Is somebody going to buy that thing as a commuter car? I know here the I-70 speedway is in full effect, and you better be going 80 to keep up with traffic and out of the edge of Kansas City. So a BYD, you're going to be in trouble.
It's the same in St. Louis. People can't drive in St. Louis either. That's another story. But yeah, I mean, these are definitely shocking headlines. And for all that you are listening, like, we want to hear your comments. Like, what do you think about this? Leave your comments below. Share this with your friends, your family. Go into the Auto Authority's YouTube page and subscribe to the podcast, and you can watch us recorded. You can go to the autoauthorities.com and watch or listen to this on 19 different channels, including iTunes and Pandora, Google Podcasts. And then if you want to watch our pretty faces live at 12 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday, you can go to the Facebook group page, the Auto Authorities. Just click the join group button. We have a great community of people. And now what's crazy, Gerald, and now you are a part of this family. We have people from all over the world that are contacting us. And you can even contact us on the website, theautoauthorities.com. It is really, really cool. And we hope that you really enjoyed this. Any final thoughts, Gerald?
Yeah. Hey, I want to get my friend in here because our good friend here, Grady the Sales Badger. He's the salesperson you don't want to run into because Grady's thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to get me one. I'm going to sell one. He's the prototypical bad salesperson. So you want to avoid Grady. And I want to give people a tip for when they run into Grady to help themselves out some, because I've seen all these used car secrets, car dealership secrets. They give people the method to buy a car, and generally they're all wrong. And you're actually playing into Grady's hands here. So let's just do one, and we'll do one a week. So the main one that I see is don't answer any questions. Don't open up at all, because then you're giving him ammunition to use against you. Just be real cold, real calculating. Not true, because Grady here, he's a pretty simple creature. He likes to sell on emotion. So how do you throw somebody off that's trying to sell on emotion? Well, you hit them back with emotion, because Grady is going to try to ask you a few questions, try to make you feel like you know him, try to loosen you up. And then he's going to ask you to buy the car. And Grady goes, kapowie, I sold the car. So what you want to do is the opposite of what everybody says. You don't want to be closed off and not open up at all. How do you deal with somebody trying to sell on emotion? You hit them back with emotion. Ask Grady what he's doing this weekend. Ask him how his family's doing. Ask, hey, what are you planning to do tonight after the dealership closes? Throw him off his game, because people don't do that. People just shell up and they just ask a couple of questions about the car. Ask him about himself. It'll throw him completely off balance, and then you'll have an easier time getting the deal you want. So that's this week's tip for dealing with Grady.
That's awesome.
Pretty easy. Yeah, and there's a bunch of them, because most everything you see on car sales forums is totally wrong and actually sets you up to fail. And then, hey, I wanted to get just a quick mention in too. This week, if you want to tune into Wrestling with Sales, we're talking with Garth Wall. He's from one of the good dealerships, I think, the Finley Group out in Las Vegas, and you can listen to him a little bit talking about what it's like buying a car in Las Vegas. That's on YouTube right now on Wrestling with Sales. And Jay, you got anything you want to wrap up with?
No, I think you hit the nail right on the head. I am in 100% of alignment of what you're saying.
Okay, excellent.
All right.
Well, hey, we'll be back every week. You can catch it on YouTube, everywhere you catch your podcast, on iautoagent.com, the autoauthorities.com, and on the Facebook group. I'm Gerald Bentley for Jay Grosman. We'll see you again.
Peace.
Talking about the auto market. Bye.